Well, Eagles training camp day 4, the last day with no pads. So things are going to get interesting after today, and we're going to find out a lot more answers down the road of this roster. We're going to be talking about the offense, defense. Offense struggled a little bit. Defense kind of rose to the top. So a nice little balance today between the two sides. And a couple names that have rose to the top. Some new names have come up, and it's looked pretty damn good so far. So one against all of that. So let's get straight into day 4.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So Eagles training camp day 4, last day with no pads, and obviously a nice balanced day today. But kind of want to go through some news today regarding a few players, some of the highlights for the day, and who's really stood out until we get into those full pads and we're ready to go. And I mean, I don't know if it's full pads or just shoulder pads tomorrow. So I know they go slowly into shoulder pads, and I think it's full pads, or unless the rules have changed, I'm not really sure. But a lot to take out of it today. Nick Sirianni had his press conference today. A couple of things I kind of want to go over here. I'm not going to go too far into everything he has said, but at least one thing, he did speak on Jalen Hurts and how much control he has in the offense, his maneuverability in the offense, movement speed, all of that, checkdowns to Saquon Barkley. Just looking like he's kind of taken within his own in the offense, which is a great thing to hear because, Nick has taken a step back, and, Jalen Hurts is working with Kellen Moore really closely, not even on the new offense, but kind of taking things, Kellen Moore taking things that Jalen Hurts was successful with last year, incorporating it into this offense while learning new things as well. And this is I think the 11th coordinator Jalen Hurts has had in his career, his football career, which is just insane at this point. Nick talked about the 3 relentless players in Patrick Johnson, Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, that these practices have been more, have been more demanding, which is a good thing to hear because once we get into the regular season, we're going to find out what these practices do look like, that we're not just relaxing the whole practice after those words from Javon Hargrave last year that 49ers practices were more demanding. The Eagles were just sitting back and chilling most of the time. But even from the podcast, a varsity podcast or something, Paris Campbell was on, and they asked him about obviously what training camp was like. He said it's tough. So he said it was one of the toughest training camps he's ever been through. So it looks like these coaches are pushing really hard, and they're not taking their foot off the gas. There's no relaxing. There's no chilling out. I mean, it's pure to put your foot on the gas. Let's get this thing going because we need it. We got a championship we got to go after here. So those two things really did like to hear about at Nick Sirianni's press conference. Now we got our new injuries for the day, a few of them here on top of Sidney Jones, and obviously, Cooper DeJean being out with a hamstring injury. Saquon Barkley took a personal day today. Oren Burks is still out with the knee. Lane Johnson was on the injury list today with a toe, not serious. Tyler Steen is going to be out a little bit with that ankle, so obviously a lot more reps for Fred Johnson, Matt Hennessy, obviously Mekhi Becton. Trevor Keegan actually got hurt today with a left arm injury. Don't know how serious it is. It didn't seem like it was serious at all, so just probably something really small. So those are your injuries for the day. For the defensive side of the ball, your outside corners were Slay and Keely Ringo. Your linebackers were Devin White and Zach Bond as usual. And guys, like I've said a million times with some of these positions, like Avonte Maddox at nickel, some things are changing, but there's so much competition right now, and people have asked, why is Keely Ringo getting more shots at first team, outside corner, second corner, whatever? I'm not really counting how many times a guy has been playing first team. I mean, you kind of want to see, who they're trying to favor. And this is only the 4th practice right now. You know what I mean? So you're acting as if there's been 2 weeks of practice already through training camp, and we haven't even had that yet. They're constantly rotating guys, and because of Sidney Brown and Cooper DeJean being out, it's kind of eye-opening a little bit. So kind of want to get that out of the way because people have been asking, why is Keely Ringo getting more snaps at corner 2 spot? And that's the reason why. Now, Mekhi Becton played right guard, started right guard as soon as Tyler Steen is out. Fred Johnson went to right tackle since Lane was out. Matt Hennessy was the second right guard, and Darian Kennard was the second right tackle. Mekhi Becton is straight up looking like he's going to be that right guard spot. Now, Tyler Steen was put there as well. I just feel like I've seen more Becton than Tyler Steen at this point. And some of the work that I'm seeing on the field with Jeff Stoughton, he's learning every single day. Lane Johnson is helping him. I feel like this is a match made in heaven. I feel like this was a big steal for the Eagles, and I feel like it's going to be. I won't jump ahead of the gun and say he's going to be something amazing, but it's looking pretty promising that good things are coming ahead when it comes to Mekhi Becton. And seeing some of his blocking, some of his activities he did today. He's fast. He's got some quick explosiveness coming off the line. And can't wait to see more from him in the near future. Obviously, from some of the highlighted plays from the day, from the defense, and a few areas on the offense, Isaiah Rodgers had a pass breakup on Joseph Nagata in the end zone. Team went crazy. Obviously, Kenny Pickett threw this pass, and Isaiah Rodgers just still shining throughout this training camp process, and can't wait till he gets the pads on to see a lot more, but looks very promising right now. The beat writers were very, very impressed with Devin White on his fluid movement, just his coverages and attacking. And, there was a pass that went to Will Shipley. That was a short pass, and he was right there to blow it right up. And, can we get Devin White to what he was? Devin White with a big chip on his shoulder, trying to revive his career in Philadelphia. And I think Vic Fangio loves him, and I think Devin White is going to have just a fantastic year this year, and his future is as uncertain of what's going to happen with him. But I'm hoping that, linebacker, and he's our best linebacker right now. He's our best linebacker on paper, and hopefully he does some good things this year. He's been showing a lot with his brutality, physical appearance today was heavily strong, so very excited for him. James Bradbury actually made a play at safety on a pass breakup on the second team safety. So James Bradbury still on the second team. We know the situation, what's going on, and I don't think I have to say anything more about it, but we'll see what happens in the near future. Well, on 11 on 11s, Nolan Smith finally makes some noise on back-to-back sacks against Fred Johnson, and this is what Nolan Smith really needed. I mean, really during OTAs and training camp, he kind of disappeared. I mean, I know they're not, in pads, and they're still not in pads right now at this time during the fourth training camp day, but Nolan Smith desperately needs to look good. I mean, we talked about the edge position. We talked about how they're going to use Nolan Smith this year, whether it's an outside linebacker or they're just going to have him off coverage as an end. And so far, it looks like they're going to have him off coverage as an end this year. Now, it looks like he went to one of the camps that Aaron Rodgers went to and actually spoke to Aaron Rodgers to get some pointers on things this year. He trained with Kwity Paye this season on technique, and he gained like 7 to 10 pounds of muscle, which is great. So he should be a little bit bigger this year. Nolan Smith looking to have a monster year. I don't question his character. I don't question the things he believes in and what he says. It's really just his play has to match with all of it, and hopefully we see more going down the line. Well, Will Shipley was putting on a clinic today for the Philadelphia Eagles while Saquon Barkley was out, potentially hoping to say to myself that Will Shipley will be the future number 2 of this team. I think he will be the third back on this team, but should be used heavily because he has really good vision. His vision takes him far. He's very agile, and, as a receiving dual threat type back, I think he fits perfectly within the mold of Kellen Moore's offense. I don't know if it was the left or right sideline, but a big pass by Jalen Hurts between 2 defenders. Will Shipley taking it there, and had 4 other catches on some big chunk yards. So he had a really good day today. We haven't heard Will Shipley's name, but This is what happens, guys, when guys get injured or, Saquon Barkley takes a personal day today. He's going to get a lot more opportunity. Kenneth Gainwell had a couple good runs today. So I feel good about the running back position. I wish they would use a bruiser back in Kendall Milton from Georgia, the undrafted free agent this year. I wish they would use him. I know you have Tyrion Price, whatever his name is, from the 49ers that they picked up at the end of the season last year. So, they have a running back room that's interesting. I think you have a bruiser, you have power, you have speed, you have elusiveness, you have dual threat capability with probably a couple guys. And I think Will Shipley, is just going to expand his toolbox and just make himself a lot better. And really, the only things he's had issues with, especially when he was at Clemson, were drops and some fumble issues. And hopefully that gets fixed up throughout training camp. This is the perfect moment to practice all of this, get the work in where you don't have to worry about that during the regular season. I'm probably one of the most big Will Shipley fans because I think he fits here really well, and you're going to see that big ability when it comes to that dual threat ability and how he, on stride can catch the football like a receiver and really do so good in open space. So very excited for him going down the line. Not only Jordan Davis cut off his dreads fully, because that man means business. He was blowing up a couple plays already, getting to the backfield, and man, I can't say this enough with Jordan Davis on how important it really starts with him and Jalen Carter up the middle. It starts with those two guys. That really says what our defense is going to do this year. I'm not even kidding. Jalen Carter should have a huge year. Jordan Davis, third year right now, and really needs to make a huge push. And we'll see what that motor looks like. We'll see how much in good shape he's in. We're going to find out. We're going to find out real quick once those full pads get on and we just see the physicality. I can't wait to see it. Jordan Davis, one of my favorite players on this team. A big miss from Jalen Hurts on a deep ball to John Ross that was just all the way down into the end zone and couldn't get him. Overthrew him in the end zone, which really sucked. And John Ross has had a really solid camp, man, like showing that speed. I got to see this in person. I hate hearing about it. With all this news, you hate hearing it. You just want to see it with your own two eyes. Like, I want to see what this, like, the only thing we did see during OTAs and minicamp or even during training camp is some of the activities that the wide receivers do. And John Ross looks like he still has good speed, but I want to see like him just one-on-one against somebody. I just want to see what he could do against somebody, like all that wide open field behind him, and just see what happens there. So, a big miss from Jalen Hurts, but the defense has got to get after it. So it's a nice balanced day. Jalen Hurts hit Devontae Smith for a touchdown in the end zone over Avonte Maddox. But it looks like I think the play would have already been called dead. There was multiple reporters saying that Milton Williams was already there with the sack, and they just let Jalen Hurts throw the ball. That's why I can't put too much into training camp with no pads. Like when it comes to coverage, sure, and a few other things. But when the pads come on, it's a totally different story. You know what I mean? So you're not hitting the quarterback. They're going to let Jalen Hurts throw every single ball, whether he gets sacked or not. And most of the time he hasn't been sacked. Most of the time he gets his throws off before anyone gets to him. And a lot of these plays were made. Don't mistake about that. But there's going to be times where defensive linemen's just going to run by him as it's going to be a sack, and they're just going to let Jalen Hurts continue to play. So these things do happen during training camp with no pads on. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Nice to hear from Devin White, Nolan Smith, Will Shipley. So, a nice balanced day between the offense and the defense. Today was the last day of no pads. We are going to have some pads on. Don't know if it's just shoulder pads or it's full pads. We'll find out tomorrow. But this is going to be interesting. And if you're watching this tomorrow, it's really today, just letting you know, because, I messed up my videos this week because of a lot of stuff going on. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about the fourth day of training camp. How excited are you? Things are going to get heated up real quick. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, Foul Side? Peace out, guys. Peace.